I always tell Moshe, I can't imagine my life without you. I really can't. Even looking back, before he was born, I can't imagine my life without him. I always imagined Moshe before he was even born. I remember thinking how much I wanted to have a child to raise. And I prayed so much to Hashem to have a child to raise. You know, of course, it would have been very nice to have, that father figure and a husband and so on. But at that stage, it wasn't happening, and I didn't want to keep waiting to be a parent. So I was single when I adopted Moshe. It was basically a journey of adoption.
Moshe came through the foster care system. We were both going through the adoption process in Guatemala at the same time, and we met by chance staying at the same guest home.
I went out on my own to meet my potential son. It was very exciting and it was very terrifying.
When the woman put Moshe in Helena's arms, the smile immediately lit up her face, and she was mom. That was it. She was mom, she was in love, and that was her child.
As much as I was prepared for this moment, I wasn't prepared for the feelings that I was experiencing. It was a lot of excitement and happiness, but really, I was somewhat scared. Here I had this kid on my hands. So I remember holding him and thinking, this is a Moshe. I thought Moshe was a prince of two countries, of two nationalities. He was a prince of Egypt. He was a leader of the Jewish people. He was an adopted child as well. You know, at the time I was doing a lot of research about the Mayan culture and the Mayan language, and I realized that the letter X would be pronounced like a sh sound. So I decided I'm going to spell his name differently. I'm going to spell his name like X, Moshe, M-O-X-E. And that way I could incorporate a bit of both cultures into his name.
I believe really strongly that Moshe was meant to be Helena's child. Their paths were predestined for each of them.
When I finally had Moshe, I thought this was exactly the right child for me, and I hoped I was going to be the right mom for him.
I think Hashem put us together because we were a perfect match, knowing that we would actually really care for each other and help each other out during times that we really needed each other, because we knew we were going to love each other for the rest of our lives.
You know, even before he started school, I used to wonder what was going on. I thought something was wrong with my parenting. And I didn't understand there was a missing piece.
You know, he would be very hyperactive. He wouldn't, even with a picture book, he wouldn't be able to sort of sit still for very long.
Always feeling like I had to move.
He had sensory issues as well, so I remember just out of the blue, he'd be rolling on the floor or bouncing off the walls, all kinds of behaviors that I wasn't used to, didn't understand. I saw how bright he was and how he remembered things so well, but there were certain things that were off, and I just didn't understand why. And when he started kindergarten and when in the first grade, once again, he wasn't putting the pieces together. And then, of course, you get the reports from the teachers. You know, he's not listening, he's not following directions, he's in the principal's office all the time.
The teachers didn't understand how I thought, and they kind of weren't teaching in a way that I could learn.
He was basically treated like he wasn't behaving well. So I think he felt badly about himself and frustrated that he was being blamed for things, that he wasn't doing anything right.
I felt kind of confused and upset.
I was really towards the end of my line, but I did a lot of research. So I thought, okay, let me try this place called SINAI.
Moxé came to us in second grade. He had experienced school failure. For a child to go to first grade and fail in first grade is a very, very painful experience.
That I couldn't learn as fast as a lot of other people. I loved books, I loved the pictures. It was just like upsetting nuts to know that I couldn't read the words very well.
He was feeling it, that something was wrong with him.
There were times he would shut down. There were times he would just put his head down. There were times he'd be angry and not be able to tell us why. Moxé needed emotional support both in and out of the classroom. It was important for him to work with our therapist and practice some skills for dealing with his frustration in a different way.
It felt a lot better to know that people understand me, to know that I could talk to anybody in SINAI.
We know how to talk to the child because we have to speak to who the child is inside, what their neshama is. Once we begin to understand the child, we can put in the emotional supports, we can place them in the right places academically, then a child begins to be successful.
It was like, he just skyrocketed. When he started to read, it was like his whole life changed.
Our model at SINAI is quite unique. It's a school within a school.
There's no difference. The Kushner students, the SINAI students, it's all one big happy family.
So it was clear early on that Moxé would be successful in mainstream experiences. So Moxé went into a Kushner math class starting in third grade. And then after that, we slowly started adding additional classes.
With the partnership of Kushner faculty and the SINAI faculty, they really work together to bring out the best in Moxé. No one in Kushner views Moxé as a SINAI student. He really is a Kushner student. There is no distinction.
So there was a point where things weren't so stable where I work, and there were layoffs happening.
Helena called me one spring to say that she was really struggling. She was seriously considering taking Moxé out of SINAI. I spoke to Sam Fishman, who was so concerned about this.
I asked Judy, isn't he doing well? And I could really hear at that point the emotion in Judy's voice.
He was succeeding. He was feeling good about himself. He was growing in so many ways. And the thought that we would lose him was just not acceptable.
And so I knew what I needed to do. And I called Helena and I said, Helena, is it true? What's going on?
And I remember saying, I'm not sure if I'll even find another job in this short period of time.
She said, I'm the sole provider. Moxé is my responsibility and mine alone. And I have to think about putting food on the table. I have to think about paying the rent. I'm going to have to take him out of SINAI.
Immediately, without skipping a beat, I know Sam Fishman said to me, you don't need to worry about this.
I said, Helena, we're not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go. We're not going to let Moxé go. We're not going to take your money. I want you to focus on Moxé. When the time comes and things have stabilized and you feel that you're ready, you call me.
And that was such a burden that was lifted off of me. So it was a huge relief
We have a special place in our heart for single moms and single parents. But with Helena, I mean, here you have a child, an infant born in Central America, and at birth put into the foster care system. You have a single Orthodox Jewish woman. She literally rescues this child. I really felt that we were part of something that certainly was bigger than me and bigger than Sinai.
I started playing violin when I was 4.
It's important for us to help kids find what they can shine in. The way it helped him here at Sinai is that he started to bring the music into school. By the time he was in 5th grade or so, he began to accompany the choir on his violin.
Playing violin has been important for his confidence and self-esteem. He doesn't have to think of himself as someone who has challenges all the time.
I'm part of a lot of programs for music festivals, and even now I'm in a quartet.
And it made him feel like a regular kid with a special talent.
Moshe really embraces his role as part of the Jewish community. He's be a role model to all of the other students in school, what it means to take one's spirituality and religious growth seriously.
It's a pretty big thing in my life, being Jewish.
I make it no secret that I adopted him from Guatemala. It's always been a topic that I grappled with how to discuss religion with him. And I wanted him to feel comfortable with it, but not to feel it was forced on him. I'm just so happy that he comes home with the Yiddishkeit that I want to have ingrained in him as a strong foundation for his identity.
I remember my first sitter, which was really exciting to be able to start reading Hebrew and praying.
I think he loves being Jewish. It's definitely a deep part of his identity.
Being Jewish gives me focus. It gives me reason.
Baruch Hu es Adonai Amarach. Baruch Adonai Amarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim nasan lanu es toraso. Baruch atah Adonai nosein Torah.
Amen.
Vadaber Adonai el Moshe le'mor Saves b'nei Yisrael v'amarta alayim.
There was such a thrill I felt sitting in shul, hearing him lean. I couldn't believe that this was my Moshe. It was such an emotional moment for me. Look what he did. He read from the Torah with everything that he had to work through. With all the challenges, he did it.
I am so proud of Moshe because he set his goals and he met them.
Moshe Meiri.
He has the skills now to be able to go into any environment and say, what can I take from my experience at Sinai that could help me be successful? And he will. He'll do it.
And he was accepted by more than one mainstream high schools, one of which is a music school for gifted and talented musicians.
What Moshe really needed was the support and the tools and the confidence to find his potential. And that's what Sinai brought to him. And now he knows he can do anything.
I think my mom's the most amazing mom because she's a strong person. I really care for her and love her.
I'm feeling overwhelmed in a good way. And I'm so grateful to Hashem because it's just a wonderful blessing to have this beautiful boy by my side.